We're live. And Jade, you've got your cup. Can we see your cup, please? Oh my God, look at that. Look, we're proper. Well, one mug between us so far isn't so bad.
No, I have got them, and they're coming to you. They are coming to you. They are on their way.
So girls, look, we're here today, and we've got Nicola as well, because Nicola, we didn't have you last week.
No. Hello.
It's the four of us today. So today we thought we'd talk about coping techniques, didn't we? And things that have helped us, or that are helping. I'm so sorry about the noise in my house. Or that are helping us on our journeys. Who wants to kick off?
Not me. My is shouted. I'm so sorry. I'm going to apologise. I thought she would last longer than 10 seconds. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just going to apologise. I have no childcare this week because it's half term and I didn't want to miss the stuff that we had planned this week. So I do apologise.
How about Nicola goes first, seeing as we missed Nicola last week? Not to put you on the spot or anything, Nicola. I'm just mindful that you didn't get any time with us last week. So we'll give you the floor this week.
Ooh, exciting. Should I maybe introduce myself a little bit?
Yeah.
And then I can talk about some of my coping things. So I'm Nicola. I've been trying for a baby for nearly 5 years, and I'm not quite there yet, unfortunately. So yes, I mean, I've tried lots of things during that time to try and help me cope. It's really difficult. Different things, I think, work at different times. So for the show and tell, I have brought 2 things. So one, looking at me, you might not believe this, but I'm actually into knitting.
Wow.
So for all my sister's babies, I knitted her baby blankets, and it was really lovely, but it was also, you know, quite sad because I wasn't doing a blanket for my own baby. So I did start one. It was sort of like I want to do something positive and something that I can look towards, like eventually I am going to have a baby. So I started knitting a baby blanket for my future baby, but it's not finished because, I mean, it's really cute too. It's like rainbow wool.
Gorgeous.
So I started doing that my very first IVF round, I think. And it's not finished. It's not done because it got to a bit of a point where it was too sad. It wasn't helping me cope anymore. It was actually quite triggering. So but I still have it, and I am going to go back to it and finish it. But yeah, I think it was trying at the time was like trying to do something positive to like manifest that hope that eventually I might have my own baby, and that would be really cute to have a baby blanket that I've knitted myself. And then the other thing that really helps me, I do a lot of running, walking, and because he's not very well behaved, I've brought a picture of my dog.
Oh, you could have brought your dog.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
No, you should have brought the dog.
He's here, but he's locked in the other room because he's really loud. But he's the most handsome boy in the world. He's called Eric. He's a Great Dane. And we got him in 2019 after 2018 was like my infertility and life year of hell, which I'm sure we'll talk more about as these go on. But yeah, 2019 was like, I need a bit of joy. And yeah, so I got Eric, and genuinely he has, yeah, it does help me cope massively because, you know, it is that caregiving, maybe too much caregiving, mothering on him at times. But yeah, he's like been a massive thing in my life where it's like I've got so much like love and maternal, I suppose, instinct to give that it's all currently showered on a dog. But yeah, so that's a bit about me and a bit of the things that I've sort of tried to do to help me get through these times.
What perfect things though, knitting and a dog. Like how lovely. How lovely.
You know,
See, I'm dying.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I tried to learn to knit when I was when you first said it, I was like, oh my God. So I learned to knit. It was actually when my granddad was poorly in hospital, which is before I actually realised that I was fully like not getting on with like making my own babies without having to have the help. And it's an ongoing joke because I know for a fact that like family members and friends are going to be watching this like, you are still so bad at knitting. And when I put it down, like I saw how much you'd knitted and I was like, well, she's much better than I am, because I always right here mess it up and then throw it in the bin.
I don't have the patience for knitting. I just do not have the patience.
I love it. I get the therapeutic thing. I get it.
No.
I'm just not that. Like when I make an error, I can't back do it. So I feel like I need to start knitting again now, Nick, to see like how like can I pick it back up.
I got really into knitting about 15 years ago. And I got so into knitting that I even had my own little labels made that said "Knitted with Love from Sara" with a little sheep.
Oh.
I gave them to all my friends. They were gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But knitting and just doing something that is just repetitive.
Scrapbooking. I was quite hooked on that as well. Like scrapbooking, especially now I've got Layla with the secondary infertility thing. It was really nice. Again, sometimes quite triggering, quite emotional, like putting all like the pictures in and stuff like that. That's because I don't know. I think maybe some people are just a bit more crafty like than others. But I quite enjoy crafting. I can't believe we're talking about knitting at 11 o'clock in the morning.
I'm just I left my books downstairs. I'll be right back.
Can I just pick up on something you said, Nicola? You know, when you said you started knitting and you got a lot from it in the beginning, and then you reached a stage where it became somewhat upsetting and triggering for you, so you kind of put it away for a little bit, but you intend to go back to it. I think that's extremely brave and admirable, but also really important to acknowledge that, like you said at the beginning, certain things work at different stages for us. So something that you once found helped, if it does become upsetting or triggering, perhaps don't just write it off forever, because it might just be a phase or a stage, and you might actually fall back in love with it again. I think that's important for people to know and to know that that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as you know, I mean, there's lots of ups and down points, and like the knitting for me is when I'm maybe on a more positive spin, and it's something hopeful and it's something productive, and it's like, yes, it's going to happen this time. Then when it doesn't, it's a bit like, I don't want to be knitting a blanket, reminding myself that it's not worked again, that I'm going through this again. So I channel my energy into doing other things, running and crying on the treadmill. Do you know?
Oh.
So yeah, I think different things work at different times, but I'm hopeful that the blanket will eventually get finished at some point in the future.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will. So what have you girls brought? I'm dying to see.
Sara, you go first.
These were my like saviors. I tried to find the picture that last week I was telling you about that picture.
Yeah.
We can't find the bloody thing because the picture frame broke, and literally we can't find it. But I've got one other picture I'll show you shortly. But so I've got here my scrapbook, right? And what I would do is, so I have my scrapbook, and then this is my journal, right? This is my journal. I want to show you what I've written on the first page.
What does it say? I can't see it. What is it? Make me a mummy.
One day I'll be a mummy, right? That is page 1. And then in it, I mean, literally, it is full. It's literally full, right? And I would write in here every single day. And then that is my favorite page. You see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's giving me goosebumps.
Yeah. And then that's another. Peggers.
Peggers. I love that.
So what I would do, I would write in here, and then we were talking last week about the whole visualize to materialize thing. So I thought, well, I'm just going to focus on creating a beautiful home for when I do finally get pregnant. right? So that's where this came in. And what I would do in here is I would just stick pictures of things that I loved, right? Homes that I loved, things that I love. This bloody jar, right? You see that jar there? That's a £400 like glass jar. And I thought, oh, that'd be nice when I have a baby. You know, when it's a little toddler, it says yummy on it.
Did you get it?
Yes, I bloody did.
Most irrational purchase after having IVF. It was a £400 jar.
Yeah. But I went through this scrapbook with my husband this morning, and I was like, oh my God, there's pictures I put in here years before my twins were born. Years. And the things in here we've now got.
Oh, yes, mental, isn't it?
Not because I was then going, right, I need that, tick, 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 tick. It's just that was my scrapbook back then, and it's just kind of happened. So that was my scrapbook and my diary were my go-to things. God.
I'm doing something seriously wrong if you're getting £400 presents. Like, honestly, I need to up my game. I need to up my wife game. I'm not kidding.
Up the affirmations and the journaling.
Yeah, I don't want to know what you're doing for £400 presents, Sarah.
Well, it was a one-off, but it was like that jar is just so like, yeah. I kept saying to my husband, it's vintage glass, and he's like, it just means it's old. But anyway,
some new glass.
But it was the whole thing, like I said, the vision of creating, like just trying to take myself away from the present and put myself in the future and describing the future to myself.
That's so crazy that you say that, because that's literally what I did in mine. It's one day I'm a stationery fanatic. I just buy a book every time I go to the shop. You know, like I can't wait for that. Is it the workshop to open back up? So just love with the notepads. And I bought this, and I bought it before we went to Orlando. So prior to COVID, I was like a flight attendant for a really nice airline, and I used to fly around the world, and it was lovely. And I was grounded and had my first round of IVF, and I touched on it last week, and I didn't have a clue about like mindset, personal development, law of attraction, nothing. And that, like, a couple of my bits that I've got 3 things with me today, but a couple of bits that are sort of focused completely around that. And I did exactly what you did. So I didn't do anything when I had my first round, my fresh round of IVF. And then when I come to having my second, in between that time, I decided to start working on my mindset. Now, when we had our frozen transfer, we flew out to Florida and we literally went for a week, just me and Ian, because that Florida and Orlando is our place. We just went for a week to go and do the parks and just try not to like think about like the whole IVF thing, just put a bit of a spin on it. And I remember the fertility clinic at the time, because the Zika thing was massive then. And I know that Miami was like a bit of a no-go, but actually Orlando was fine. And I had to prove it to my fertility clinic, because it wasn't that I was risking it, but I just needed to get away. Like I just needed a break. And on the plane, I writ for 9 hours on the way there. I remember the plane was empty and we were sat in business, and Ian was sat in premium, and Ian went and sat behind me, and I remember sitting there and just 9 hours I writ in here, and I designed the life that I wanted it to be. And I would bawl while I was doing it, and every now and then Ian would be like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Cool, I just need to." And by the time I got to Orlando, I felt so much lighter. It was so crazy. And journaling has just become a part of me since then. Like, it was just, and I writ from like when we'd started our first round of IVF. I know when you read it back and you're a bit like, wow, like, and I read it all in like a present tense, as if I was reflecting back on the way everything had gone. But it was like, it's life goals and stuff in there as well. Some of it's happened, some of it hasn't, but it's still, I feel like when I'm journaling, I feel like I'm a massive believer in that you like can create your own reality and stuff anyway. So when I was writing this, it just made me feel just even for in the moment, I felt distracted from my reality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
See, my journaling I've also brought my journal, and my journaling allowed me, mine's slightly different than what you explained yours was. Mine allowed me to kind of process So whatever, I wrote mine, obviously, not particularly every day, but maybe every few days, or if something particular had happened, I'd choose to, write a new entry. And as I was kind of writing it out, all this static and kind of muddled up emotions that were just swirling around in my head seemed to order themselves and kind of find a neat, tidy order to place themselves in as I got them out on the page. And when I started, my biggest thing was the unknown, because I'd never done IVF before. I'd never faced what I was about to face. And I didn't feel like there was anything out there that shared the hard-hitting truth, the physicality of it, the emotional side of things. So I really felt like I could have done with something like that. And because of that, because of what I felt was lacking, as soon as I started my journal, I didn't write the journal to myself, although it was very much for myself. I wrote it to all of you. So I kind of write as if I'm saying, and don't worry about this because of this, and try not to judge yourself on this part because this is okay. So I'm constantly writing to you. And with that in mind, I had every intention of getting this out there. The whole point was that I wanted this real-time experience of this is exactly what it is, stage by stage, bit by bit, how I felt, the physical side of things. I wanted to get it out there so that everybody could see certainly what it was for me. Everybody's journey is different. And I did. And the immense feeling of achievement when I got the publication was just incredible. It was, I just feel so proud of it.
You sort of got comfort through your own journey, through helping other people as well then, didn't you?
Feeling like I was helping people,
because you can sort of be a bit resentful and not really care about anyone else on your journey at certain points. I think that's just human, to feel like that. So that's really amazing. You did feel like that. We've had a couple of comments as well, just from a lovely lady called Kelly. She is on her second day of stims for her first cycle, so her first IVF cycle. How do you girls stay positive but not get your hopes up that it'll work first time? Sarah, maybe?
Wow, it's a real tricky one. It's so weird because when I'm the kind of girl that always thinks negatively, because I always think if you think the worst, it can only get better. Yeah. However, when it came to my IVF, it was totally the other way around. Because I was so naive, I assumed it was going to work the first time. When I was given my IVF, I thought, oh God, this is amazing. That's it. I'm going to be a mum now. And then it didn't work. And that was like a massive slap in the face. So I did struggle to, hold on to hope for quite a while after my first failed round. But it was honestly the visualization. Last week when I said I watched The Secret, that is the only thing really that kept me going. Just focusing on what life would be like, or what not what it might be like, but what it was going to look like for me. And then also, another thing they say that really helps, and again it helped me, is really look at what you currently have. And I know that sounds really wanky, but if you look at the things that are really cool in your life as well. Sorry, am I not allowed to say wanky? But but you know what I mean? They say, oh, well, just appreciate what you have. And I remember when someone told me that, I thought, oh, that is ridiculous. Baby, I don't focus on my wallpaper. But in my journal, I did start doing that. And I started really looking at what I do have, and it helped me think about what I'd built so far and why I was then going to be such a good mum. I think gratitudes are great. We say this all the time. If I'm feeling in a bit of a crappy place, IVF or not, I'll always write a list of things that I'm thankful for, and it certainly does shift your mindset, because you can't have. Sorry, my child is trying to open my front door. Amazing. You can't feel you can't think good thoughts and feel bad. So it's just about the whole frequency thing. But on the touch of the eye, I was the same, right? So I think because
it was the most control I'd ever felt, was being given this IVF. I thought, well, I can control how this goes. I can control how my body responds to this IVF. I was never going to go into it like it's not going to work. And I do think having a positive mindset, I wouldn't change that for one bit. What would be the point to put yourself through all of those meds and all of those stims and all of those crazy emotions if you weren't going to tell yourself that it was going to work? And if it doesn't, it's part of your journey. And I tell you what, being 2 weeks out of a second fresh cycle. So basically, Kelly, I don't, just really quickly touch on my journey. I had a fresh round of IVF. It didn't work. I had 4 embryos, 2 put back the first time. Then I had a frozen cycle and had 2 put back the second time. And the result of that is a 3-year-old in my front room trying to break out of my house because she wants to go out. So we've had another cycle now because she really wants a brother or sister. We'd love to give her a brother or sister. And the long and short of that being, I felt so much calmer this time round. I felt like I could look at my anything that I experienced in this cycle, I could look back at it and be like, I feel calmer this time because I've done this before and I know it's okay and I know that I will get there. So just there's no right thing to say to you right now. You're on your own journey. I don't know your story. All I know is that you want to be a mum. So right now for you, just my best advice, or like coming from me, would be just to be gentle with yourself and use this as like a discovery round and do the best you possibly can. Look after yourself, do things that make you feel good, rest up. Do not be afraid to keep yourself away from people that you don't want to see, and don't feel like you have to force anything. Just remember that you are, what your body is doing for you, even enduring this process, is so hard, and you are an absolute goddess for going through it. And regardless of what happens at this cycle, you're going to come out the other side of it either with more experience, or you're going to get that ending that you want right now. But if not, you are one step closer. So this is still a huge thing to overcome. And it's going to, either way, it is going to be successful and will benefit you in one way or another. And I hope that makes sense.
Can I just say one thing with that as well? Because I think when I had my first round and I was sort of in that in-between of, oh my God, it's absolutely going to work, and also don't get your hopes up and be devastated when it doesn't work. And I had a really close friend at the time at work, and she was the only person that I really spoke to at work around what I was going through. And when it didn't work out, she sort of said to me, look at this as a marathon, not a sprint. Like, just because it's not worked to the first hurdle does not mean that it's never going to work. And actually, you'd like to hope with IVF, with trying for a baby, the longer you try, keep at it, it's only the first time. And it was like, yeah, you're right. Time is more on my side now. Now I'm in it and I'm doing it than if I would have, carried on trying to ignore what I was going through. IVF for me was like a bit of acceptance, like this isn't working on your own. And even though I didn't want to do it that way, it did help in this, I suppose, accepting that this is the route now, and if it doesn't work first time, I can try again. I can keep trying at it. The marathon, not a sprint, helped. But trust that it does work first time, because for some people it genuinely does.
Yeah, I hope that helps, Kelly. Obviously, anyone that is watching, if you've got any questions, do just pop them away in the chat. That's exactly what the live chat's for. If my eyes are going to the side, it's just because I'm reading and replying to people's comments and not being more. I also
from all your thoughts now.
I bought this, right? It's battered. It's actually my dad's. And I was grounded when to have my fertility treatment at the time. And it was when I just started doing, like, the first thing I ever read and listened to was The Secret. And this was a very, very close second. So I had to drive to Heathrow to the hangar 3 times a week to do my work placement. And these were like CDs that you put in your car. And it's Anthony Robbins. And I absolutely love him. Like, if anyone doesn't know Tony Robbins, he's so motivational. Like, he's just like a guru for me for like mindset. And this was his Personal Power Classic Edition, and you had to put the CD in the car and listen to it. And I would literally listen to it on my way there and my way back, and it made me feel so good. So these two are 2 things that were like massive, like coping mechanisms.
Oh, coping techniques. Yeah.
Right, he's talking about it's like personal power. So it's all about owning your own mindset from the minute you get up in the morning. How like the first thing you do like gives you like your motivation for the day, and it's all about reprogramming or programming your mindset to work in a certain way to like give you like more of a personal, like positive outlook, getting like the things done that you should be getting done in the day. And just generally especially when you're going through IVF, I mean, I don't know anyone who's watching this could agree, just let me know in the comments. Sometimes you just wake up and you feel like you've got that storm cloud above your head and you think, crikey, another day of checking pregnancy announcements, another day of not feeling like this and hospital appointments or whatever it is, just another day of not having what you wish you already had. So I find that plugging into mindset every day, and it's something I still do now as a habit actually, is to like always work on my mindset. And there's so much stuff out there for so many different areas, but this is just all over generally like to become successful and comfortable and happy within yourself. So love this. He's also got a really good one called Get the Edge, which I've got on CD, but I didn't think it was all about my show and tell today. But I've got one more thing, just one more that I want to share with you all, because this is for anyone that's going through IVF and fertility treatment right now. So I don't know what your protocol is. I was on a long protocol and I was having loads and loads. Sorry, I'm not sure why my laptop's tinging. But I have these oils, essential oils. I am obsessed with essential oils. And when you're having lots of injections in your tummy, it can get really quite sore and really quite swollen, as you girls probably already know. No worries, Corinne, better late than never. If you do watch this on a replay, can you just give us a hashtag replay in the comments as well, just so we know who's watching it live and who's not. That's just really helpful for us to know. These two oils. Oh, I had one more. Where's it gone? Oh, I did get it out as well. I don't know where it's gone. Anyway,
that's my fault, Corinne. I'm really sorry, darling. I said 11:30. Sorry.
Oh, always 11 every Tuesday. Right, so I've got this here is the bergamot oil, and this is to help with sleeping. This here is lavender. That also helps me sleep. So I had this is grim, right? And he's going to kill me. My friend recommended the bergamot. I always use lavender anyway. But she said, this is meant to be really good to help you sleep. And you know, when the IVF meds can make you feel all kinds of crazy, especially when like you're on the down reg, like the buserelin made me feel really menopausal and I just wasn't sleeping very well at all. So Ian actually had to rub this into my feet with the almond oil on my last cycle. He didn't have to, but he did. And I know he's going to literally kill me for telling the world that today. But hey ho, never mind. Such is life. I'm used to that. But the next one that I loved was the frankincense oil. I would rub that with almond oil into my belly, and it did take the swelling down.
I used to have
it really helped.
Spray. I had a frankincense spray. It was Neil's Yard. I don't know if they still. It's just a spray, and all of a sudden I would feel calm. God, I forgot about that. I'm going to write that down.
That stuff.
It's just grabbing the calm wherever we can get it from right now, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's getting the calm wherever we can get it from. So lavender always on my pillow for sleep. Bergamot oil is really good. I had that like rubbed into my feet, courtesy of Ian, with the almond oil. And I would have the frankincense on my tummy. I love essential oils, so I could bang on about them all day. But anyone who is like starting their IVF, and just grab yourself definitely the frankincense and the almond oil to rub into your tummy, because you get like a pincushion, don't you? And you get super sore. And I still remember days where I was like, I can't get the needles in. But it definitely helped on that front. So that's my show and tell. Ta-da!
What a fabulous show and tell. Well done, Jade.
I
love it. It's like being back at school.
Has anyone watching brought anything with them? Like I did always, like when we've been promoing and stuff this week. Sorry, she's watching apparently. I am watching, Mum.
Oh.
I know she's dying to get on here. I know she is, and I feel like it's probably going to happen. Yeah. But anyone that's watching, I don't know, what have you found that's helped you with like coping mechanisms? That's what it's all about today. And we want to make this interactive, don't we? Like, don't just feel like you've got to sit there and not comment and get involved. Like, I don't know, like Ian, are you watching? Like, what did you find that helped you cope? I don't know. I'm not even sure if I want to ask you that question. But let's all get involved. Let's share. Like, what is helping? Like, I know.
I got sent a DM from someone who hasn't commented on here to say, can you please pass on that she would buy flowers from Columbia Road Market every Sunday for herself?
Oh.
Yes, from you too. I love that.
So for anyone in London, Columbia Road. Oh,
I'm so
Hi,
sorry.
darling.
Can you say hi to the girls?
Hi.
Layla, you don't like to be too hot, do you? No. Is it because you were in the freezer? You were in the freezer, weren't you, before you were born? You were in the freezer for 4 months. Can you tell these girlies where babies grow? Where'd they come from?
His fairy garden.
In your fairy garden. Is that where they grow? She caught me doing my injections the other week, and I tried not to show her. Just can you eat some cookies now? Yeah. All right. In 2 minutes, like give me 5 minutes, and yeah, sorry about that, bribery. Yeah, she said to me, "Oh, but mummy, we can just get the baby." I said, "This is because the hospital are trying to give me a baby, darling, so you can have a brother or sister." And she was like, "Oh, they can grow in my fairy garden, mum. It's fine." I was like, "Oh, damn! And if it was that easy."
No.
oh my God. My girls are so so sort of just not blasé. Blasé, I suppose, about the way they were created. They, to be an IVF baby for them is just the way it is.
Yeah, we will definitely, we always had the intention that Nell's still, she's 11 months old now, but she will always know how she was made and where she came from and what we went through to get her here. Obviously, I mean, with the book out, it's going to be really difficult for me to hide it if I wanted to, but that was never an option for us. We always wanted to be really honest with her and let her know. I mean, and when we were going through it, my husband does already have a daughter. I'm sure that we'll touch upon it as these shows go on, the complications that offered into relationships and funding and things like that. But when we were going through IVF, she was 10, nearly 11. So it wasn't something that we could hide from Alicia. It was really important for us to explain why Jodie might need a bit more of daddy's attention on this particular day, or why Jodie wasn't perhaps feeling 100%, because I have such an amazing relationship with her. We didn't want her to worry unnecessarily or to feel like I was perhaps being a bit off, or why I was in my bedroom and didn't come down when she came to visit us, that type of thing. So we decided to try and explain it to her in as child-friendly a way as we could without patronizing her, because she's 11, she knows, the way of the world. And she was just so accepting of it. It was just, okay, is there anything I can do? And she actually, every time she was here, when we went through, if I was having an injection when she visited, she asked if she could wipe with the alcohol wipe, the area. And if I needed a hand holder that day, she said, "Are you feeling brave today, or do you need a hand holder?" She was just amazing. And she always knew what we were going through, and she was just fantastic. I think we underestimate young minds. We underestimate, number one, what they're aware of. We try and talk in code and they know everything. They know every code that there is, but also their understanding of things, they're not as small or as naive as what we think. And we just decided to be honest with her, and she was fantastic. I'm really glad that we did.
I was walking down the road once with my girls, and this man walked past and he goes, "Oh, twins." He goes, it must run in the family?" And I said, "Oh, yes, it does. Yeah." And as we then walked past, one of my daughters went, why did you say that? Why didn't you just tell him that you had 2 embryos put back in?"
Oh.
And I said, wow, I was like, well, maybe I should have done. And they said, "Mummy, come on, we're IVF babies," but said with such pride.
Yeah.
I said, well, because he was quite an old man. I said, maybe it's a generation thing, and I knew I would have been talking to him for a long time, but yes, I should have done. It was very, very sweet.
Just going off topic, but about what kids say. I remember once, she was much younger, and we were out at a restaurant, and the waitress said something to Alicia along the lines of, "Oh, and what does mummy want to drink?" or something. And I was like so uncomfortable, not because somebody had referred to me as mum, but because I was uncomfortable for her, because she has a mummy and I didn't want her to feel like we were betraying her mummy because someone was referring to me as that. And straight away, without even thinking, she was like, oh, she's not my mum, but I love her just the same. And I was like,
oh.
So she had no issue in correcting the person, but also that the fact that I'm not mum wasn't an issue with her either. Yeah. But she was just like, oh, she's not my mum, but I love her just like, it was just so not an issue.
Well, while we're talking about what we say, every time, when we didn't live in a lockdown, I'm allowed to say that. Anyway, when we would go out for dinner or drinks or anywhere actually, and they would say, oh, what would you like to drink? Layla goes, I'll have a vodka, please. And everyone always looks at me and it's like, oh, right, okay, because that's what mummy drinks all the time. And what she actually means is she has like a soda water. So that's what she asked for, is like a soda, because like, so it's like a sparkling water. So she asked for that, but she asked for vodka everywhere we go. And, you know, some people laugh. And then sometimes you're like, there's a time and a place, Layla. And when she asks the nursery teachers at nursery, she can have a vodka with her lunch. You just think, oh, you should be saying that, Layla Ray.
Girls, can I ask a question? This is kind of going off as on, you know, this is not what we plan on talking about today. But it just got me thinking with my twins saying about the 2 embryos being put back in. I know doctors don't recommend putting 2 embryos back in now. When you
that's
so is that discussed at all with you? Like, it doesn't even come up in
Oh yeah.
well, they didn't to me.
Yeah, I've been given the option.
Have you?
Oh, I was
Yeah,
the option. The last round they said they'd only put 1 back.
Yeah, so they said, because I've got 4 frozen embryos, they basically said it's up to at the NHS clinic. They said absolutely 1. We won't put more than 1 in. Because we've moved to the private clinic now. They said the option, it's up to you. So you can have 2 in if you want to, but we wouldn't recommend putting 2 in because the day 5 blastocysts, the good embryos, and you know, like twin pregnancies have a higher risk and all those sorts of things. But they said it was up to us what we wanted to do. I mean, we've opted to just carry on with 1s, but the choice was still there. Yeah.
Our clinic, we assumed naively that it was always going to be 2. We assumed that if you had more than 1 available, they would put more than 1 back in. So when we met with the consultant really early on, he said, oh no, we'll just put 1 in. However, if you insist, we'll put 2 in, but you have to sign extra paperwork to say that it's you that's insisting on this. So they would have done it for us, but it would have been, I guess, against medical advice. And again, that's private, that's not NHS.
There was no medical.
See, Kelly there said she had the option of up to 3.
Wow.
It's crazy, isn't it? Split, you'd be busy.
Just crazy though how different clinics offer different experiences. And you know, I mean, IVF's a minefield on its own and every person's journey is different, but to see that the clinics are so different in the advice that they're giving and their approach to treatment as well, don't you think that adds to the complication of navigating journeys? Because
it's so per success rates though, is that what it's about? What's most successful at their clinic? Because my first round,
something that we considered, we never looked at that.
No, see, on my first round, they always said that they just said they were going to put 2 back, and they were trying to grow another 2 on to see like how they grew and how if they were okay, you know. And luckily, I had a couple more that grew on. They said they weren't the best quality, and that's where my pregnancy came from, and my daughter. But this time round was totally different. They haven't mentioned it. I mean, I have had a freezel, but they said they were going to grow them all to like the blaster stage to see what the best ones were. And I think up until I was hospitalized, I was still talking about doing a really late transfer. I was in no way, shape or form fit to have anything like that done. I was in such a bad way, you know. But Yeah, I don't know. I just, they talk a lot about what works so much for like their clinic. So, but this is an NHS one, but I've paid private. We didn't go anywhere else because that's where we had Layla and we knew it worked there. So I guess we were a bit like creatures of habit, if that makes sense. So I don't know. Maybe that's something. Maybe we should all go away and speak to our clinics this week and like bring that information with us next week.
Because I've interviewed a couple of doctors about this before. And
Yeah.
they both said that they always recommend putting one embryo back because they want to, give you the highest chance of a healthy live birth. So if you put 2 embryos in, you are reducing that percentage or that success rate. Mm-hmm. So they just want to make you a mummy, so that they're focused on just the one. But I please.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean, because we had 2 embryos put back in, and I only got 1 pregnancy from that. If we hadn't have had 2 back in, would I have not have had her? I don't know. You know?
As you get older, they advise. Well, they say as you get into later in life, they then say go for 2.
Yeah.
But how old are you, Nicola? Because you're young.
Not that young. I'm not young.
Don't ask me that question.
How old are you?
I'm not young in the scheme of getting pregnant, so I'm 34 now. So
you just look super young.
Yeah, looks amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely past that optimum pregnancy time.
Do you feel that adds pressure, Nicola? Do you feel?
Absolutely. It's like a ticking time bomb for a really long time, and I'm still sort of in that phase of like, I don't want to be a 40-year-old mum. I get that's fine for some people and that's their choice, but I don't want to be putting myself through this for 10 years. So mentally, I'm like, what's my cut-off point? At what point do I go, it's not happened, enough's enough? I don't know. Every year it changes. My husband just sort of laughs when I say, we're not doing any more. If we get to 36 and we're not having a baby, there's no baby. He's just like, okay, whatever. I'll probably get to 36 and say, 38? I don't know.
What's your next step, Nick? If you don't mind me asking, like obviously on here right now.
What's what, sorry?
What's your next step? What's next for you?
Well, I've just had surgery like a week ago around my fallopian tubes, and it was really positive. So the consultant has said that he believes that I can get pregnant on my own. I don't know if he's trying to like reverse psychology me. I don't know. He was like, there is evidence that your ovaries are ovulating. So even though I've got PCOS, there is evidence that they are functioning to release an egg that is potentially going to get fertilized. So he's actually recommended that I take like a 6-month fertility break, as in stop trying, just focus on being calm and living my life and having sex with my husband that's not about making a baby.
But that's so much easier said than done, isn't it?
See what happens. Me and my husband have sort of said we are going to wait until after the summer before we do anything next, because I'd like have a frozen transfer, just because hopefully I've got like weddings and things like that, and my best friend's getting married, so that's really exciting. So I've got things that are happening over the summer that, you know, won't necessarily coincide with being bloated, angry.
Feeling like
so I'm gonna put that stuff on hold, I think. But who knows? I'd probably for another frozen transfer before the end of the year, I would have thought.
Can I just say, like, I absolutely love the control that you've taken back over your life like that.
Yeah.
Because you do put everything on hold, don't you? You're still not married, just with for years. Oh, I can hear like someone's line.
Yeah.
Can you just mute yourselves for a sec? That's better. Yeah, just like how incredible that is that you've like found the power to take back the control of your life, because you do your whole life doing it again.
It sounds like someone like got a milkshake and is just like trying to get the last bit of the milkshake out. I think I should have done that. I shouldn't have done that. I was trying to
like daytime TV, are we, Zara? Let's tell the
That's
truth.
what Sarah's doing to get £400 present.
She's gone now. She's gone. I was trying to give her a compliment about taking back control of her bloody life because I think it's amazing. And she's gone for you being so inappropriate. Right, Sarah. All your fault. But no, seriously, I
My
think
grandma's watching this, by the way.
oh, sorry.
More for you, Jodie. You should have known better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's amazing that she's taken back control of her own life because it's so hard to do.
Yeah. And the thing about, have a fertility break and when you have sex, don't do it to get pregnant. That's so much easier said than done. I remember each time we may spontaneously just have sex, not to try for a baby, but just because it spontaneously happened, then calculating in my mind, where am I in ovulation and would that work? And so even when it's spontaneous, it's still not actually that spontaneous because we still overanalyze everything. So it's really difficult to take that break, and actually admirable if you can manage that. That's amazing.
It's like me telling you not to think about red shoes right now.
Yeah. Do you know what? I thought of the Wizard of Oz. When you said that, I thought of the Wizard of Oz and the shoes.
It's so difficult. It's a really difficult thing. Have you ever tried? The whole headspace thing. When you try and push out thoughts. When they come in and like medicine thing. I really struggle with that. When you try and clear your brain. And they say, as soon as a thought comes in, catch it and throw it away. I'm like, I'm constantly
I end up getting really stressed out because I can't do it. So I end up getting really angry because it's not working, which then completely undermines the whole point.
It is so true. You know what? It's so funny you should say that because I've been feeling, let's get personal. I've been feeling so stuck this week. I was saying to you, wasn't I, Jodie, before we went live, I was like, I've had a crazy week. I don't know where I should be. Everyone's asking me, I'm going to have these embryos put back in, and I'll be completely honest. I hope no one takes offense, but I'm just speaking my truth. I don't want to have any embryos put back in right now. I want my body back to normal. I want my mind and my body to feel like they're the same and not two different things. And I know that when I meditate, it makes me feel so much better. But my brain is constantly going 100 miles an hour right now, that the thought of sitting down to be alone with my thoughts in a quiet room and to silence them, I can't even bear the thought. It's so overwhelming. So it does make me feel good when I'm in the right space to do it. And once I've created a little habit with it every day, I feel great. But right now it's well off my radar, 100%. And I totally relate to what you girls say about just let the thought go, let it pass you by. And I just cannot do that.
Do you know what, girls? I've just suddenly thought, you've just reminded me, Jade, right? And my other coping technique, and actually this is really quite embarrassing. It wasn't, so I couldn't meditate, but I had a song that I would listen to, which was almost like my equivalent of my meditation. And I used to have this song on my, literally on my daily playlist. And I'd walk through Victoria Park, which is in Hackney where I lived. And I would play this song and I'd visualize me pushing a pram. But it's the song choice that I'm quite embarrassed about, but I'm going to share it with you. In fact, I don't even know if you'll remember this band.
No, you're not going to say what I think you're going to say because I'm going to kick you out of this.
Westlife.
What one? What one?
It's called What About Now? It's called What About Now? Honestly, listen to it later. It's such an uplifting song. Well, every Westlife song has got an uplifting bit, hasn't it? The bit where they stand up.
I think of that song. I think I know which one that is. It's kind of cheesy, but I'll let you have that. That's okay.
listen to that
I
later.
won't let you have that.
That was my meditation.
Let her have a song.
I don't love it. Ian loves Westlife to this day. He loves Westlife, and he's going to absolutely kill me for telling you all that. He's going to kill me for telling that as well. So
I had to share it. Yeah. So that was my song, my go-to song that would help me feel calm and uplifted. Thank you, Westlife.
I'm going to listen to it when we go off air. I'm going to listen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if anyone's got any questions, but I'm conscious that we've definitely been going on for quite a while. I'm not sure what happened to Nicola, but it was so nice to have her today. And I'm sure she'll be back with us next week. Have we got the updated info for next week, or are we still not 100% on that yet? We'll announce that on this week. Not yet. Okay. We're waiting on something really exciting, that's all, and we just don't want to announce it until it's 150%. So keep watching on our social media. We will have a new Facebook page uploaded as well, and I'm going to be getting all of the audios to these uploaded to a podcast. Just bear with me because it's me we're talking to, and I'm not very technically able. So unless any of you want to volunteer to help me, then that's absolutely fine, but I will get it uploaded onto the podcast ASAP, and then we'll be able to stream this through Facebook as well, so it just makes it more accessible for everybody. But yeah, if nobody's got any questions, I think we should get that wrapped up and call it a day. I hope you found it really useful talking all things coping mechanisms, and hopefully some of our crazy hints and tips will help you on your way.
See, and this is the point where the director would go, and cue fade of Westlife. What about now? Do you know what I mean? That would be a perfect ending.
I know, it'll be so good when we actually can, though. I just feel like once we can get this into a studio, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so nice to have like these viewers on and stuff and be able to come and sit in a studio with us. Like, I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, anyone that is watching this back, if you make it this far in the replay, please do just let me know. I'm just trying to monitor how many people were getting to come on and watch it live, and how many people are watching it on repeat. And of course, please leave your feedback in the comments. If there's anything you'd like to hear on the next show, we always go back and check it over and have a look and keep up to date with the comments. And we just want to know what you guys are thinking and if you're finding it beneficial. So yeah, on that note, I'll let you, Sara, talk us out, and then we will end the broadcast.
And look at that, it's 11:59. Perfect. I love you girls very much. See you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.